My name is Jack Humphrey. I'm a cinematographer. I do photography, videography. Oh, interesting question. Maybe I can just take you away back a bit. I wanted to be a musician. Yeah, that's why I started singing one or two lines. But down the line, I think I got maybe more exposure. Then I decided now let me pursue media. But when I decided to pursue media, to be specific, mass communication, I wanted to be an anchor because I've always been this someone who wants your name on the lights and everything, if you understand. But later after getting into college at the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, one of the pioneer schools in East and Central Africa, through interacting with my lecturers and my colleagues, I started developing an interest in cinematography because I remember there's sometime one day a friend of mine was telling me a story. He used to work for KTN. So they had gone to a field with a news anchor, but unfortunately what happened is that the lady got sick, so the lady could not do a live link. But the guy, being a cameraman, was able to do a live link because he had the expertise in operating a camera and of course speaking English, quote unquote. So I thought about it and was like, what if I can do what you can, but you cannot do what I do? So I decided maybe one day I'll go into maybe news anchoring, you never know. But I decided to do the technical part of it because that is where most of the things happen. Yeah. What drives my passion in photography is that ability to tell stories. You know, there's quite a lot that happens in our world, and not everyone is able to be at a particular place at a particular time when an incident or an accident or something is happening. So that ability of being there first, that ability of creating stories and memories and being in a position to manipulate stories in a positive way to engage your audience is what really drives me in doing photography. So in production, there are three stages. That is pre-production, post-production, and no, the pre-production, the production phase, and the post-production. Then, of course, in between now we bring, of course, the editing, sound, and of course camera work. Let me pick an example of we are handling a project like, let's say, Safaricom Foundation celebrating 20 years of existence and of impacting the community. So you find that now what is the idea? The idea is Safaricom has been there for 20 years. This is what they have been doing, like answering the who, the why, and the what. We want to bring out the impact that we have seen all through the 20 years. What are we supposed to derive from this impact, or what is the take home from all this? Now that is now the production bit. Again, it will depend with the kind of assignment I'm undertaking. That will also determine maybe the poses maybe the kind of pose we may decide on. But if I have to choose between maybe the three, you said standing, you said sitting, and maybe lying down or something, or kneeling. When you stand, I have a feeling that a pose where the energy is there. You know, when someone is standing, the energy is kind of vertical. It's easier than when somebody is sitting. But again, it also depends on what assignment you are undertaking. But I go for power poses. For me, I love that. Or rather, I enjoy more documentaries, or let me put it, activities or assignments I can control about. Because mostly handovers are, most things happen here and there. Sometimes you may not really have the time to organize yourself, so you really must be on the run. So at the end of it all, you must find that as much as you have the content, maybe it might not really come how you had envisioned it earlier. But when you see stuff like Connect or maybe Newsroom, these are assignments that you are informed prior before. You can sit down, you can draft some shots, you can maybe advise your subject, you can put on this type of cloth to bring out this type of picture will look good. You can advise your client the type of jewelry to put on, some reflect when you are shooting, you get the point. In short, there are two, let me put it there, for handovers, they are more for a live event. And then for Connect, we are doing a more for documentaries. So we have more leeway when we are working with a controlled situation than when things are just flying here and there. So I'm assuming, of course, I have the background information of maybe I've been informed, Humphrey, today you'll be traveling to Machakos County. You're going to interview a lady who is called Wavinya. She's into groceries and everything. At least now I have that background information. So before I also go now to Avinya, you know, there's also background information, but there's also researching more on it. So before I even remove my cameras, I always just sit down first. I want to hear your story. You know, some will tell you, so you are informed, but no. Now I want to listen to you, you know, because when you listen to a person speaking, that is the point now you will know their story. You can also know the cover shots, the kind of cutaways which you'll use to complement the story. That is the point now, because now when you are talking to her, as much as you are listening to her, but also you are planning yourself visually on how you are going to implement the same. So after talking to Avinya, okay, I was just picking Avinya as an example. After talking to Avinya, you might find that there's a very critical information that was left out maybe from the initial time, maybe she interacted with the person or whatever. But maybe, okay, from that information, then now I can now be able to formulate a story in a way that maybe assuming maybe she does groceries in terms of, oh, we said she does grocery. So as let's say, for example, where is her market? Then she may say, oh, my market is far, but if you guys can plan on a Friday, guys always come to my shamba and they pick a bit of stuff. So, you know, from getting that information, depending also on resources, you can also plan yourself knowing that as much as this shoot is gonna go well, but there's some few shots, if we can get time on Friday to come, we can now finish just the bit of it of seeing the end-to-end process. Because a good storytelling is an end-to-end process. Where did it start? How does it go? Where will it end? And from there, what next? Yeah. And another interesting thing I do carry is a Bluetooth speaker. It's always with me everywhere. Yeah, sometimes if you don't want to kill someone, you listen to music. No, anyway, I carry because mostly we use it for editing purposes and of course for music. Yeah, you know, we are the technocrats in what we do. As much as we are involved in cinematography, we also do media liaison, and the most important thing, we also educate our clients. It's something that we do. The most challenging thing I encounter as a photographer is that, let me use this coin phrase, that kwa ground vitu ni different. So sometimes you find that after deliberation, maybe before a shoot, we may agree, okay, you guys have agreed on whatever, all the parameters, like everything about the shoot. Then by the time you guys get on ground, man, that's when you realize, wow, things are different. But as I said earlier, in our line of business, is just how fast do you adapt to the changes in a situation. Because at the end of the day, when you are there in the field, as much as things have changed, the client in Nairobi won't be like, now, me, I'm not working because, you know, you said we will get a water in the bucket, but now the water is in a basin. It's still the same, it is water. Then you just have to find a way to adapt or to work around it. And maybe the downward side of that is, now it brings you back, of course, to square one. You still have now to think more. You still now have to forget everything that you had initially in mind, and still don't drop the ball, and still you get the message that you are supposed to get the message. So I can just say the most challenging thing is, if you don't get it right in pre-production, let me just put it in this, if you don't get it right in pre-production, pre-production is the most critical phase. It's just like, I like using an analogy of a plane. The most critical phases of a plane is when it is taking off and when it is landing. When it is at cruise level, that is the safest part of a plane. So in our line of business, we can also use the three phases, just as we had said initially, the pre-production, production, and post-production. So post-production and pre-production, those are like the takeoff and the landing of a plane, very critical. Like you may cruise, you may have all these good shots, but if you don't save your work, you are done. You may have all these good ideas, but if you don't do due diligence or do recce so that you have a clear information on what you're going to do, my friend, you are done. So I can put it that way. For me, in this, let me say, I've practiced this for 10 years, thank God. So in this era we are living in, you know, nowadays we don't have to have these high-end cameras or high-tech cameras. So if you have an opportunity, this is just to everyone out there, if you have an opportunity to create memories, just create it.